Good afternoon. It's Saturday, January 31st. I'm recording. It's 3:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I was on a roll in December. We got busy. Our family spent a lot of time in Florida. Um, and then we came back here, and just the new year, I'm typically busy with work. You know, we're busy with kids, family. Um, we had It was warm here, and obviously we had a bunch going on. I grew up near Chicago, Northwest Indiana, so the Bears were in the playoffs. My family has Indiana University lineage, and so along with A&M and Notre Dame, so we were rooting for those teams in the college football playoffs. Indiana won, which was surreal. So there was one weekend where I was in Chicago watching the Bears, and then was down in Florida watching the Hoosiers. So it's been a whirlwind. The markets have been a whirlwind too. Um, it's the price action has been so crazy. In some ways, I purposely have distanced myself from it, because I'm trying to keep my mind clear, keep an even keel, and to make rational investment decisions. And easier said than done. Because you have days like Friday, January 30th, which was just wild. You know, Silver was down 28.5% on Friday. It's still up. The SLV is still up 17% year to date. So just jumping right in, year to date, the energy stocks, XLE is actually leading. It's up 14.8% year to date. Obviously, oil has moved. There's an impending belief that there's going to be an attack in Iran, and then the supply demand figures have been generally better than what people have feared. Precious metals, the VanEck GDX is still up 9.8% year to date. Now it was above 30% just 3 days ago. So that's kind of next. Emerging markets are up 8% year to date by the EEM. Small cap values up 7% year to date. That's IWN. That's the ETF. IWM, which is just the Russell 2000s, up 5.5. Uh, the emerging markets, which at the developed international markets, which along with the emerging markets really outperformed last year. They're up 4.9% this year by EFA. The S&P 500, SPY is up 1.5. The Qs are up 1.2. And TLT is down just a smidgen year to date, down a negative 0.03%, so just slightly negative. It's been a wild ride. I imagine that's going to continue to be the case, and really that was the case last year, also the case in 2020 with the pandemic, and even in 21 and 22. If you remember back to 2022, a lot of people were getting on the bandwagon of energy stocks, and that was kind of the peak. So you saw generalists kind of get into that market, and obviously the S&P was down 22% year to date in October of 2022, and then it bottomed, and we've had the super cycle in you know um, AI, and the Nasdaq has run again. But really, if you look since 2020, things like I mentioned in the last article I wrote that Exxon, since it was replaced in the Dow by Salesforce.com, Exxon's up a whole bunch, and Salesforce is down. So it's been quietly, a rotation in the last 6 years, again, albeit without significant volatility, which is again what we're experiencing now. With silver, I had wrote a post on Wednesday in live chat that I was shorting silver. I sold half of my First Majestic AG, um, just to kind of hedge what was a parabolic move. And it was wild last week because silver was up a lot on Monday, you know, and then or down then up, and then Thursday the same thing, down then up, and then Ken Warsh was suspected by the betting market prediction sites that he would be announced as the choice for the new Fed chair, and that sparked a sell-off Thursday evening that really spiraled on Friday, and that was more of a positioning issue because there'd been a lot of speculative money in silver and precious metals equities. You also saw it though in SanDisk reported on Thursday night, and it gapped up a bunch, but the memory stocks pulled back, and again that was positioning because as people sold their call options that had big gains that sparked the option dealers to sell the underlying stock, and that spiral just continued down on Friday for both the memory stocks. Although SanDisk finished up, but it gave back a lot of its gains, and Micron kind of had the same thing. But silver might have been the heart of the recent speculation. The way I described it was a weird compilation of speculators because you had guys that were doing the guys and gals that were kind of the gamma squeeze. Think of GameStop. You had overseas speculation in China and Korea, and you have a core of people believing in precious metals as sound money that were in there, and it just is really interesting. How that all that speculation came together and it was overcrowded and it unwound. I posted a chart, and I'll post it with this next article I write. But some people are suspecting that was the wave, 3 up, and now there's a wave 4 down. There's wave 5 up to come. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting with price action on, when we open next week. That was also Friday, January 30th, was the close of the month. Another thing I wanted to talk about was natural gas. People had gotten pretty bearish because the December was colder, but people were worried about the production numbers. And then the first half of January was warmer nationally. That's reversed. Now I'm back in Indiana right now, and we got 15 inches of snow a week ago on Sunday, and it stayed around. We haven't, the days below freezing. I think it's going to be like 19 or 20 days below, where the high doesn't go above freezing. So it's been a real cold stretch, particularly in the Midwest. And natural gas storage went below the 5-year average on Friday, and the next couple draws look favorable. So we're going to be, a significant amount below the 5-year and year ago storage levels, and we'll see what production kind of bounces back to. So we'll get that information in the week ahead, or the next couple of weeks, because we'll see what the big draw was on Thursday this week, and then as the freezing temperatures subside, we'll see what production bounces back to. So I've had some people reach out, like Surf Cowboy. He checked in on me, said, "How you doing? How's your energy level?" And I said, "Good. I've just been traveling, and been busy trading, and just kind of glued to the markets." Still, after all these years, 30 years doing this, 30 plus years now, it fascinates me, the psychology of the markets, and the fear and greed that come in. And I do have some things. I did the FAMDCA buys on Friday. I just haven't posted them yet. I'm going to try to post them today, the 31st, or tomorrow. There was 5 months of catch up. I had some new stocks in there. PayPal was one of the new ones. There's a couple others, and I've substituted. You'll see, and but that's a teaser. Did those Friday afternoon, just running around, and I'm going to try to get back to doing these videos on a regular basis, because it's nice for me to do the market recap and get back to writing. I still have to do the E&P update, which I've been teasing for a while, and but the similar to the last ones I've done, it's going to show that the natural gas stocks are still cheap here, and we've got some run up in the US E&Ps on the oil side. Oil price has been stronger. It's going to be interesting what happens with the geopolitics and over the next couple of weeks. So just want to check in. I'm alive. My passion is still there. Sometimes I get away, and there's I don't think it's bad to have solitude, although I haven't had solitude. Kids have been off from school, and so we've been busy. But to clear your mind, especially with some of the price moves, it's not a bad idea, to take a break from the news cycle. Although I read and research a ton, and then I have a network of people that I talk to on a regular basis, and that kind of continues the drumbeat. But amazing price action. It's going to be par for the course. I'm not sure we'll have as amazing price action as we've seen, the opening month of the year, which has been extraordinary with particularly some of the parabolic things like the memory stocks and then silver. But, like I said, every year since 2020 has been pretty dramatic, and really you know, even the quiet periods, because you think of 2020 with the COVID pandemic and the bounce back, and then 2021 we had the SPAC, kind of bubble, and 2022 we had the bottom of the market. 23, I guess, was quieter, but that was when, in May of 23, when Jensen said at NVIDIA that, there's going to be a new bubble that has, kicked off in 23, 24, 25. Looks like that might be unraveling a bit here. I saw some news that NVIDIA is backing out of their $100 billion investment in OpenAI. So I think that was part, of also the reversal in some of the memory stocks on Friday. Just prepare for continued volatility, keep an even keel, and look forward to more research from me as the year or we get back into a normal routine. Thankful, grateful for everybody in the group, and appreciate you guys. So hopefully you guys are all staying warm, having a nice start to the year and a nice start to the winter, which will be over before we know it. So take care, and happy last day of January. Bye.